I give the floor to the representative of Algeria.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is with great honor that I deliver this statement today on behalf of the A3+, namely Guyana, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and my own country, Algeria. We extend our gratitude to Mr. Geir Pedersen, United Nations Special Envoy for Syria, and Mrs. Joyce Nsuya, ASG for Humanitarian Affairs and Emergency Relief, for their insightful briefings, and also for their effort to resolve the crisis and restore peace in Syria in order to alleviate the suffering of its people. We acknowledge Mr. Pedersen's recent visit to Damascus and his continued effort to revive the political process and reconvene the Constitutional Committee. We urge the parties to overcome the current deadlock regarding the convening of the 9th meeting of the Constitutional Committee. At this critical juncture for Syria, it is imperative that the Syrian-led and Syrian-owned process, with support with the international community, continues toward a lasting resolution of the crisis that has plagued Syria for over 13 years. After enduring such instability and suffering, the Syrian people, needs support to emerge from its political and economic challenges. In line with the Secretary General call, we emphasize the importance of reaching a genuine and credible political solution that addresses the legitimate aspirations of the Syrian people and restore Syria's sovereignty, unity, independence, and territorial integrity in accordance with Security Council Resolution 2254 and facilitate the safe and dignified return of refugees. We commend the UN envoy's effort to advance the inclusive political process and achieve a sustainable solution. The A3 acknowledge the critical role of Syrian women and youth in achieving sustainable peace in Syria. Their active involvement is essential for a comprehensive and enduring resolution of the crisis. Women and youth bring unique perspectives to the table, making their participation indispensable in shaping the future of Syria. We express, as A3, our regret over the deteriorating situation and the repeated attacks over the Golan Heights, and we urge for an immediate halt of such actions, emphasizing respect for Syria's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and rejection for all external interference. Resuming hostilities only perpetuates insecurity and undermines the gain made and progress already achieved in the political process and will potentially fuel terrorist activities, not only in Syria, but also in the wider region. In this regard, the A3 Plus calls for efficient coordination to effectively combat terrorism in Syria, to enable the Syrian government to regain control over their entire territories. Mr. President, 13 years into the Syrian crisis, the humanitarian situation remains dire, with more than 60 million people in need, over half of whom are women. An unprecedented humanitarian crisis is unfolding, plunging Syrians into deep despair. More than 90% of Syrians now live in poverty, and the economy is in free fall due to tightening sanctions. The A3 Plus calls for sufficient and predictable funding of the Syria Humanitarian Response Plan to address the food and security crisis and meet the need of the Syrian population. The underfunding of the HRP in 2023, less than 40% of what was needed, has forced humanitarian agencies to reduce food assistance and suspend health services, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. We believe that Syria should not continue to solely rely on humanitarian funding, and we emphasize the importance of investment to reduce external assistance dependency and alleviate the humanitarian burden. We support the early recovery project vision of UN OCHA and call for its adequate funding, but recognize that additional efforts are needed to address the need of the Syrian population and facilitate the safe return of refugee and IDPs. To achieve this, Syria must revive its economic growth and prosperity. Therefore, the A3 Plus urges for the alleviation of sanctions on Syria as they negatively impact the country's economy and exacerbate humanitarian challenges. In conclusion, Mr. President, peace advancement and sustainable development are interconnected. Guyana, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and Algeria reiterate their call for a nationwide ceasefire and immediate negotiation between parties toward a political settlement in line with Resolution 2254 to bring comprehensive peace, stability, and sustainable development to Syria. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Algeria for their statement.